hello. It's your girl, Patrina Dixon, the It's My Money Lady. I'm so excited here today. I'm here with Candace Okin, and we are going to talk about youth and entrepreneurship. So I'm so excited about that discussion, and we're going to get into Miss Candace's story and, the choice for youth in entrepreneurship. But before we do, in case you're new listening, I want to make sure you know who I am. My name is Patrina Dixon. I am a finance and entrepreneurship speaker. So I do keynote speaks as well as financial and entrepreneurship workshops for high school students and above. So if you are at a college, university, high school, business, you have an event, and you need a speaker for either of those topics, hit your girl up. And if you're looking for information to help level up your money and or your business, drop down and grab one of those links below. I have links to help you with your personal finances as well as grants for small business owners if you're interested in that and you are an entrepreneur. So that's who I am. And with me today, I have Miss Candace Okin. Hey, Candace.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. So I know I'd like teed you up and say I got the wonderful Miss Candace Okin. So tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so I am an author based in Houston, Texas. Um, I started my career as a writer. I actually do a lot of grant writing for nonprofit organizations, and so I returned to creative writing about 4 years ago now. In 2020, I wrote and published a children's book called Mason Makes Money, which
Ooh.
became the springboard to my nonprofit, Mason Makes Money Fund. So I currently direct and lead all efforts in the nonprofit space right now.
I love that Mason makes money. That's what I'm talking about. Mason, get that bag, Mason. So I loved, you sprinkled in a little bit modest on your writing career. So you've been writing for a long time, right?
Yes, yes.
So tell them how
Well,
long,
I've been,
right? Tell them
yes.
how long.
All my life really writing, but professionally since 2011. So that's about 13 years professionally.
Yes, that's a long writing career. I love it. As an author myself, I love authors. I published my first book in 2016, and now my husband and I own a book publishing company. So yeah, so
Awesome.
now I help other authors as well get their story out there. So you started in writing, and then now you launch board into Mason Makes Money, right? Which is what we're going to talk a lot about because Mason is a young entrepreneur, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yes. And then, so why? So tell me about the leap. So you were doing what you were doing, meaning writing, and then what about this story catapults into nonprofit and then working with youth becoming entrepreneurs? Like why that lane?
Absolutely. So for me, working in the nonprofit space is it's very familiar. It's very comforting. I mentioned that I was a grant writer, and I worked in within nonprofits across the Houston area, writing grants for those organizations. And so, just that space is very comforting, and for me, it's very familiar. Um, when I wrote Mason Makes Money, I did it because at the time I was going through kind of a hardship, a financial hardship, and I wanted to write a story that was palatable and was digestible for a child. Because at the time, my son, Mason, was very
Hmm.
young, and I wanted to create something that would hopefully empower him and inspire him to not make some of the decisions, financial decisions that I made that landed me in my family in a financial hardship. So that's where Mason Makes Money came about, the concept of the book. It's about a little boy who wants to help his friend raise money, and so he starts a dog washing business. And in the process, he's learning about what it is to be an entrepreneur and how to manage his money, and so on and so forth. And I got so excited when I started hearing the responses and the feedback from parents who would read the book to their kids. The kids were asking questions and like, what does this mean? And what is this? And that was very, very exciting to me. And I wanted to continue that conversation. I wanted to keep that spark and that curiosity alive. And so in essence, I I brought the book to life through the nonprofit, Mason Makes Money Fund, where we help young entrepreneurs, even those who may not own a business but are thinking about it and want to know where to start. We help them. We support them through mentorship. We support them through education. And also, we have a grant cycle that's held 3 times a year where kids can apply.
I
And
want to talk about that. I have that written
yeah,
down. I want to talk about that. Let me pause you right there. So, one, I'm loving your story, right? Because this resonates with me so much. The reason why I'm in the financial space is because of my financial woes, if you will. And then once
mm,
climbed out of the, no, I wasn't just in a pit, I was in a pit of mud and sticky stuff I couldn't get out. But once I got out of that, I like wanted to teach everyone. And then I started to think I did like that retro that it sounds like you did is like, why don't I know? Why didn't I know? It wasn't that I didn't have the money. It was I was not making the best decisions with my money. And
right,
it was, I said, you know what? Had I learned it when I learned a lot of other things that some I still know today, some I don't, was in school. And that's when I started working with the youth and teaching them that, like I said, I call it the solid foundation. The things I do in the financial lane is helping people build a solid financial foundation and then they could begin to build a house, if you will. So I
right.
love that. I love that the synergies in the reason why you got started, and then wanted to focus on youth for the reasons that you just named. So I want, before we go into the grants, because I do want to talk about that, I want to ask you. I know your book, your nonprofit. You talked a little bit about Mason is your son. Like the age, like why did you choose that age? Is it because that's what how old Mason is today? So tell me the
No, to
age
be,
that you focus on for
yes.
your nonprofit in your book, and then talk about that a little bit.
Yes, sure. So the age range that we focus on is ages 7 to 13. And my son was actually much, much younger, to be
Ah,
honest.
okay.
But I wanted to focus on that age because as I looked around at some of the young entrepreneurs I saw, they were very young, but they were full of just zeal and
Mm,
excitement and like anything is possible. The sky's the limit. They had that. They were still untainted, untarnished by life and by limitations. And
real life,
um,
right?
yes, yes, there's nobody really telling them there that you can't do it. It's still at that age where everyone thinks, even if they think, oh, this is cute, this is a cute idea, it's still a positive reinforcement. And so what we choose to do is we choose to come behind that positive reinforcement with a little bit more power. Like, yes,
Mm.
this is something you can do. Let us help you get there.
I love it. I love it. And then what are some of the common reasons? Because not everyone, and when I get asked this question about why become an entrepreneur of adults, I get a lot of different things. And there is one common theme. When you hear it from children, when you ask them, like, why they want to be an entrepreneur, what are some of the common reasons why at that age do you think they want to be an entrepreneur?
Um, because they get to do what they love. They get to make the rules. They get
That's
to
it. I want to be my own boss. Like, that's what I
that's
hear even as
that's
an adult.
exactly it. They
Yes.
want to help so many young people. I can't tell you how many young people I've come across whose business models completely like the nucleus of it is wanting to help people and not from the just the standpoint of like I want to make money. It's like I really want to make a difference. I
Mm-hmm.
created something that I know that I'm good at in a space I'm comfortable and I'm going to help people in the process. And that is so amazing to me that our young people
Yes.
have this mindset. Hmm.
Yes, absolutely. And then the follow up question to that is, what are the common industries that they want to get in? So it sounds like there's a social component to them wanting to do it, with wanting to help people. But what are the common things like this type of business, that type of business? What are you seeing with the folks, the many children you've worked with? On your site, I saw, you've been worked with hundreds. So tell us, what are the common types of businesses?
Common is merchandise, t-shirts, candles, journals. Oh my gosh, so many young ladies have like affirmation journals and
Mm.
books that teach about positivity. Um, Interestingly enough, I see a lot of kids who want to get into cooking and
Ah,
baking.
I
So that's
love
another
it.
common one that I see. Yes, I
Yes,
wish I
I
was
love
like that when I was
So when
that
I was
age.
in high school, my and I didn't know this until I had a chapter in a book some time ago, and my first introduction into entrepreneurship was when I was in high school. And I want to say introduction, I kind of had the bug then that at that time, many years ago, we're not going to say how many, that I had the entrepreneurship bug. And it was my mom and aunt used to bring me these gigantic lollipops, like bigger than what we know as blow pops, like these big lollipops. And I used to have like, I don't know, very often I would have more than 10, right? And I would eat one and I would sell the others. And I became the lollipop girl in high school. And so, and then it was like, okay, wait, and at that time, think about cost of goods. I didn't pay anything for it. I was just the only child from my mom and the only niece to my aunt. And I became the lollipop girl and I didn't have to pay for it. And I was making, the money that I was making from. I'm like, so what, people want some things that I have and I can sell it. And then that just became, continued on years into that. So that's funny that, so I love that you work with ages 7 through 13 because that's starting them off early. And, regardless of what, that business can then turn into businesses. Like I love all of that. And then you touched on, before we go there to the grants, I want to ask this question. So do you find when you start working with children, or maybe this leads to your program, is do you find that some like thought they wanted to do it and then like I don't know, because it's not, some people, and we know even as adults, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be your own boss, then you get into it and like I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like, do you ever find children like start off and then decide during that process, maybe this really isn't for me?
I have not come across any kids that have turned away from it. In fact,
Okay.
I've more commonly come across kids who started off thinking like, "Oh, I don't think I should do this," and then turn towards it. So, um, at one of our workshops, we did a basics class in October, where every Saturday we went through a different aspect of business. And I had one participant there who could sew and made lots of garments, hats, clothes, all of that good stuff. But she was adamant, I only do this for my family and friends. I don't think I want to be a business owner. But by the end of the workshop, she was taking orders from customers.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Now, do you integrate into your workshops or your program when working with them the importance of marketing? And I ask that question because, like, again, I always weave my story into this stuff. Is that when I remember putting my first book out, which is the product that I had, if you will, at the time, and I was so excited. I was enamored that I was like holding my book with my name on it, and so great. And I did not, for that first book, have a marketing plan at all. It was just like, I put it out there, it's on Amazon, like people are just gonna buy it, like just
Right.
because it's there. And so marketing is so important for in any business, right? Like, do you incorporate that piece into what they learn about starting a business?
Absolutely, most definitely. It has its own session, and in many cases, depending on how we customize a program for whatever organization or whatever entity that we are partnering with, sometimes we pull it out into two sessions. Marketing has two dedicated sessions, so
Yeah,
absolutely, because as we know, it's great that you have a great product, but if nobody knows about it,
exactly right. And then what
yes,
about the financial piece? So, another piece of starting a business is, having money to do so and planning for when you don't have any sales so your business can sustain. How do you weave that into what you teach them as they're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur and thinking about the business that they have, like want to go in, like how much will it take to start that and how much will it take to
excuse me.
price it? Like, is that incorporated into what you do as well?
Absolutely. Budgeting and money management is another aspect of our workshops that has dedicated sessions and sometimes broken into multiple sessions. We go through all types of different activities. We go through budgets, actual business budgets, and I pose different scenarios to them. So one was, imagine that you have a business and this this illness creeps through your community. And if you go outside, you get sick. So people have to stay in their homes. It sounds familiar. People have to stay in their homes.
Yes,
How do you cut down your budget, your expenses, so that you can still have a profitable business with this element that you're having to work within that you don't and can't control? So we go through different scenarios. We go through activities. We go through budgeting, all types of savings and budgeting activities because I really want them to understand the basics of money management so that they
yes.
can build upon that foundation and be able to have a profitable business because making money is never the issue.
Yeah.
I hammer this to the
Listen,
participants.
you better talk about it, girlfriend. I meet
Yes,
so many people who want to make six, seven, multiple figures, but if you don't know how to manage one figure, it's not gonna matter
absolutely.
how much you have, unless you have people that's gonna do it for you. But you're so on point because I come across so many people that the mindset is about the how much, whatever that number is in their head that they want, but are struggling with managing. They think that having more will solve it, when
Yes.
their mindset about how they use whatever it is they have has not changed to match up to getting that larger dollar amount. In my opinion, others may have different opinion. I feel like that the foundation, the basics of managing money helps at any level of money that you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Most
absolutely.
definitely.
So we're gonna get into, so before we get into grants, because I think I'm gonna wrap with grants. I want to talk about, you talked a lot about what you teach them. You talk about the marketing. You talk about this. People are talking about, what are you talking about? Like, how do they get, like, they have kids that are interested. How do they know how to Mason make money? They want to make money too. Tell them about your programs. Who can be involved? Is it just for a certain area? Is it online? Talk about it a little bit.
Absolutely. So, all of our activities take place in Houston, but we do tons of virtual events so that people from all across the country can participate. The grants, and I know that we'll talk about that a little later, that is definitely a nationwide effort. We've even had kids from the islands from the Caribbean apply, so that has no barriers. But our mentorship component is virtual as well, so anyone, any kid from anywhere can participate in that. If you just go to our website, masonmakesmoneyfund.org, you can see all of the activities and things we have on on deck. You can also ask questions if you need to get connected to a mentor. If you have some questions about any of the workshops that we have, you can shoot me an email at info at masonmakesmoneyfund.org.
And
Um,
are the workshop, is it a series, like you, when you somebody signs up or their child signs up, do they have to take six series, or like, or is it per whatever session they feel they need in their entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah, so if it's in person, I mean, stop by one or stop by all. We definitely
Okay.
customize it to where if we'll build upon each lesson, but if you are a newcomer, on the third series, you can come in and feel like you haven't skipped a beat.
Okay.
Now, while we do kind of cater to age ranges 7 to 13, I do not believe in withholding information and education from anyone of any age. So, kids who are 14, 15 who want to participate in our Kids Connect program. That's a virtual event where kids come in and they network with other young entrepreneurs and they also learn something from a guest speaker. Please feel free. Please, you're welcome to come. So, but that's how we try and customize it. Come to one or come to all, but you'll get something either way.
I love it. So now let's talk about grants, because I call grants free money, y'all, free money. So you
Absolutely.
have created a program where these aspiring entrepreneurs that are youth aspiring entrepreneurs can apply to receive grant money. And so talk a little bit about how that came about, and where people can go and find it, and what, who's eligible to apply for the grant that you make available.
Yes, absolutely. So that came about because I'm a grant writer. It was a natural space for me to be in. I thought, how cool is this to really put your money where your mouth is, really beyond just teaching kids, having them to apply it. But in doing so, also teaching them something through the process. So kids can go to masonmakesmoneyfund.org. Right now we're in the first cycle. We have 3 cycles each year. The first cycle ends April 1st. They can download the application. They'll fill it out. And then I have a small board of directors. We review the applications. We invite kids to a one time, sometimes 2 interview process. All of that, we are hoping to teach effective communication skills. Tell us about your business. Tell us how this grant will impact your business. What are you looking to do? What are your goals? What is your support systems? Having them to learn about how to pitch themselves and how to propose partnerships with other people, so that, hey, in a couple of years, whenever you go to the bank because you need a loan for business expansion, it's nothing. It's
Yeah.
nothing because you have that.
Is this something? I'm sorry, I didn't mean. I thought you were done. Were you? I didn't mean to cut you off there. Were you?
No, no, please go
Oh,
ahead.
so is the grant something if they are victorious through the interview process? Do they actually grant dollars, or are you just bringing them through the process?
So if they're victorious through the process, our board does score each applicant. They receive a $500 grant
Oh, they do.
for their
Okay.
business. Yes.
Okay.
They also receive a free business strategy session. It's about 6 to 8 weeks long. It's valued at $40,000, where they go through their business plan and they strengthen their business plan and their goals and things like that. And at the end of our grant term is about 6 months. So at the end of that 6 month term, they do have to report out. They have to send us a grant report and how they use the money, because we want to teach them, fiscal responsibility and accountability. But it kind of sounds rigorous, but it really is a learning process. But
I love
something
it.
that pays dividends in the end, quite literally.
And how are the parents involved in that process? Do they be a part of the interview? Is that required? Could somebody 13 just go on your site, apply, and get started? Like, how is the parental part included?
Yes, it's not a requirement, but a lot of parents are a part of the interview process, and that's fine. We actually love to see that. My board loves to see that because they know that the parents are a part of the support system. There are parents that out there that may think that this is great, that what their child is trying to do, but may not be equipped with whether it's time or resources or whatever to support their child the way that they want to. And we understand that, but one big piece of what we score on is that support system, because we want to know that if we're giving this resource to you as a child, that you have that support system backing you up.
Yeah.
Yes, we see lots of parents apply with their kids, but it is not a prerequisite. It's not required.
And that you said that it was open to people outside of the U.S. as well. Was that correct?
Yes. Hmm.
Yes. Okay. Great. Great. I love it. So now, Miss Candace Okin, if you had to give 3 tips to young entrepreneurs based on what you've seen, based on things that they come up against that may pause, I'm going to say deter, but pause them in their process, what would you give as 3 tips of encouragement to keep that light lit as they think about it, have aspirations, and then we're going to end again with you telling them where they can go if they have an interest in working with Mason Makes Money.
Absolutely. Disclaimer, this is going to be totally cliche, but number one, be yourself.
Mm,
Be yourself. I wasted a lot of time trying to be something else because I didn't feel like what I had, or what I had to bring, would be valuable. Like, who cares about a grant writer? Like, so what? That's how I felt. And I ran around. I always knew I wanted to own a business, but I had a lot of hard times just trying to figure it out, instead of just doing what came naturally to me and being myself and valuing that. So be yourself. Be your biggest cheerleader. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't back up yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you.
yes. Yes.
And number 3, never stop.
Mm,
keep going.
I love it.
Failure
I
is
love
a
it.
part of your journey. Um, Hardships are a part of your journey. It is not a linear journey. It's like circles and squares and triangles and everything else. Keep going.
Yes.
Keep
Yes.
going.
Yes, I
That's
love
my
it.
three.
Three great tips. Be yourself, be your own cheerleader, and never stop. I love it. So, again, Miss Candace Okin, where can they find you and all the wonderful things that you've talked about and the grants for youth that want a little bit of some dollars to help them along their way, along their entrepreneurship journey?
Absolutely. So you can find me at our website, www.masonmakesmoneyfund.org. You can find us on Instagram at Mason Makes Money Fund. And you can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MMM. No, MM Money Fund. That's a new page, so excuse me, but MM Money Fund on Facebook.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, sharing this story. Hopefully, I don't know. My analytics tell me I don't have audience 7 through 13, but I know I have parents of people 7 through 13. Make sure that you listen, and if you have a child, a young person between these ages or even older, as she mentioned, that have that entrepreneurship bug, you know it. They've done that lemonade stand, they bake those brownies, whatever it is. Let them take a listen to this so they can hear that one, there are other people doing it. Sometimes young people think that, like you said, like it's their idea, maybe it's not a great one. No, there's a lot of people out here doing it. Miss Candace has a lot of a wealth of resources that can help them along the way, and money, y'all, by way of the grant. So all you have to do is apply. Sometimes grant dollars go unclaimed, if you will, because people don't apply. They don't think they'll, get it or whatever have you. And even if you apply and you don't, the experience that you'll gain going through their process is amazing. And then maybe you can apply for the next round that she has, or something like that, or somebody else that may have the same thing. So, Miss Candace, thanks again for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for leveraging your skills to make it what it is today. That also now will help our youth in doing what they're trying to do. So, I appreciate you for that. And those of you that are listening, as always, thank you for rocking with me, Patrina Dixon, the Is My Money Lady. And remember, I speak on topics of personal finance and entrepreneurship and grants for small business owners. So if you're looking for either of those, you can drop down below and get the links for both Candace and myself down below. Check us out. And if it doesn't apply to you, but you know of somebody who it does apply to, make sure you share and then leave us a comment and let us know what you think about this episode. So thanks again for rocking. If you're listening to this on any platform, make sure you have it subscribed, you follow it, whatever it is on the platform that you have. If you are watching us on YouTube, drop down and hit that red subscribe button, y'all, to make sure that you'll be notified of every episode that comes about for It's My Money with Patrina Dixon. Thanks again for being here. I appreciate all of you that take the time to listen in your cars, at home, wherever you do. I appreciate you. And again, don't forget to subscribe so you will not miss another episode. So, Miss Candace, thanks again for being here. And for any entrepreneur that may be listening, keep on going. As she mentioned, keep on going. Believe in yourself, be yourself, and keep on going. And don't let anything that doesn't go your way deter you. Learn from that and keep on going. So make it a great day, everybody.